Subject of our discussion today is working with nature and communities for building resilience to the impacts of climate change. We have an excellent lineup for you today. In fact, I think our only trouble might be just keeping on schedule. We've got so much to tell you. We have two speakers joining us from Bangladesh. Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Al Mahmood, who's the chairman of Maharajpur Union Parishad. He'll be speaking to us first. And then we'll also be hearing from chairman from Pankali Union Parishad, and that's Mohammed Sabir Ahmed. Before moving on to our technical experts today, Dr. Mohammed Sariful Islam from the Department of Civil Engineering at the BUET University in Bangladesh. And then I'll be handing over to some of my UNCDF colleagues, also based in Bangladesh, that's Tamina Tamana. And then my other colleague, Lena Bratley, who very excitingly today is going to be releasing a new report looking at local impact and work using nature-based solutions across our global operations. So perhaps I should just give you a little bit of background before we start, because this is an event organised by the Local Climate Adaptive Living Facility, which is a mechanism, a financing mechanism of the UN Capital Development Fund. Local channels finance to communities for locally led adaptation action. And one of those programs on the ground that finances are channeled to is called Logic. So we're going to start with first some direct experience from the community representatives who are implementing adaptation action using Logic in Bangladesh. So we'll start with Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Al Mahmood. He's going to be talking a lot about mangroves. So for those of you who do not know, mangroves are a shrub that grow mostly in very brackish waters. They have tremendous properties that include improving water quality and preventing soil erosion, just as a little bit of background for you there. So for those of you who do not speak Bangla, please use the function on the bottom of the screen. You can also access interpretation into English. So if that's all clear for everyone, I think I'll hand over to Mr. Mahmood. Please, the floor is yours. Are you able to switch on your camera so that you can join? Mr. Mahmood? Is anyone hearing, or is it just me?
Mr. Mahmood ভাই, আপনি কি শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
Thank you. I think perhaps something's been lost.
Yeah. মাহমুদ ভাই, যদি আপনি শুনতে পান তাহলে কাইন্ডলি ক্যামেরাটা অন করে আপনার বক্তব্যটা শুরু করবেন।
Mr. Mahmood is not in the meeting.
I can see him. UP Chairman Maharajpur Logic.
Oh, all right.
Okay. মাহমুদ ভাই এবং তার সাথে যে সিএমএফ ভাই আছেন, যদি ওনাকে একটু হেল্প করেন কানেক্ট করতে বা কোনো ইস্যু থাকলে আমাদেরকে জানাবেন কাইন্ডলি।
আমার মনে হয় মিস তামিনা ওনাকে একটু ফোন দিয়ে বললে হয়তো অনেক সময় হেল্পফুল হতে পারে।
Yeah. Sarah, can we move on to the next chairman, Mr. Sabir from Pankhali? So that meanwhile, Mr. Maharaj, the chairman from Maharajpur fixes the technical glitches.
Yes, why don't we? Why don't we give Mr. Mahmoudov just a few moments to get his technical issues sorted out, and instead move to Mohammed Sabir Ahmed.
Okay.
Are you there, Mr. Ahmed?
Sarah, he's not finding the option for to unmute and to talk. He's not finding the options here.
Damna, he has been promoted as a panelist. Could we just request if he accepts that? I think he declined that, but nonetheless, we've provided the option for audio. It should.
Okay. So
I've just sent him an invitation to ask to unmute. Hopefully that addresses it.
Okay. Mahmoud bhai,
I suggest that we move to Professor Islam.
Okay.
While we give our colleagues in the community just a little bit longer, because probably they're working on more difficult connections than we are.
Okay. Mahmoud bhai, এখন আপনি আনমিউট করতে পারবেন, তো চেষ্টা করে দেখুন যে আনমিউট হয় কিনা, আদারওয়াইজ আমরা আপনাদেরকে পরবর্তীতে সময় দিচ্ছি।
It'll be very important that we get to speak to our speakers today, because really the whole point of the Gobeshona Conference, one of the main reasons that it's been so successful, I believe, is that it does give a platform to community representatives to share their experience and lessons learned. So, but as we're having communication problems and just having access difficulties, let's perhaps start in a slightly different order today. Professor Islam, I see that you're online and I know that you have your presentation there ready. Do you think we could start with you? Perhaps you can give us some of the technical background for today's presentation, and then it'll give us a bit of a moment for our colleagues to connect. Is that okay with you?
Yes, I'm fine with that. If you
Wonderful.
want to start.
Okay, so I'll hand the floor over to you. If I can just remind you, we've got a packed schedule today. So if we could say it's 15 minutes, so it'll be 1:30. Until then, sir, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me share first.
Terrific, we can see it, lovely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening. Thanks for your kind introduction and giving me the opportunity and the floor to talk on application of vetiver-based bioengineering slope protection in logic infrastructure. Actually, today I will briefly present some findings of the study. Is my voice is clear and everything is fine? Okay. So this is the outline of a short presentation today. At first, I will let you know about the project background and outline of logic. Then what is soil bioengineering, a brief introduction, and the VGT, that means vetiver grass technology. And the main focus of the VGT in this logic project, the site informations and also the site selection, how we did it with the help of the, local support and the logic structure. And finally, some summary and future direction. So actually, as you all know, the logic is a multi-donor collaborative initiative focusing on climate change adaptation solutions and in selected climate vulnerable areas of Bangladesh. The expected outcomes are enhanced capacity of local governments and vulnerable communities, a financing mechanism for vulnerable households towards climate adaptive livelihoods, a performance-based financing mechanism for community adaptation schemes, and finally strengthening national and local governance and policy frameworks. And in the right side is the outline of the project. The project is titled as Local Government Initiative on Climate Change. This is the timeline and the budget. And the development partners are EU, DANIDA, SIDA, UNCW, UNDP, etc. And the implementing agency was the Local Government Division and Ministry of Local Government, Bangladesh. So Logic actually is designed to support roughly 400,000 most vulnerable households in 29 upazilas in 9 districts of Bangladesh to fight against climate change. So this table shows the list of those districts, Khulna, Bagerhat to Rangamati, and the upazilas under each district. And the rightmost column shows the climate hazard for each district. For Khulna, it is the salinity, flood, cyclone, and tidal surge. And for Bagerhat, sea level rise, cyclone, and salinity. And Patuakhali also sea level rise, cyclone, and salinity. In Borgona is also same, sea level rise, cyclone, salinity. For Bhola is little different, the cyclone and tidal flood. In Kurigram, it is riverine flood, Sunamganj flash flood, Bandarbon and Rangamati flash flood and landslide. So other than the different climate hazards, most of the Logic project sites are erosion prone. Erosion prone and areas, and with the, so just the erosion prone, and the situation is predicted to get worse in the future. Hence, the project recognizes the importance of implementing low-cost natural-based solutions like vetiver plantation to reduce erosion and its consequences. Therefore, BUET was approached to be provided with the necessary information and guidance to carry out vetiver plantation in few project sites. So in short, actually, soil bioengineering combines in structural, biological, and ecological concepts of constructing living structures, plant-based and for erosion, sediment, and flood control. And vetiver grass technology involves the correct application of this unique grass in erosion and sediment control, and land stability in civil construction, and mining, remediation, and flood mitigation. So actually, this technique has received much attention worldwide due to its low cost, aesthetic, and environmental value, socioeconomic impact, as well as sustainability. So actually, this picture, I'm not going in detail. This is the main mechanism of bioengineering using vegetation or turfing. So this technology has got much acceptance and application all over the many countries over the world. So this map, global map, shows the locations where actually we implemented this vetiver grass technology, including Bangladesh and other countries like Indonesia, Cambodia, and other countries. So, and this has been used for many types of infrastructure like mill bank protection, canal bank protection, shoal line protection, and flood embankment, and also hill slope protection, and rail embankment protection, and submersible road, and for many cases, including the hills and in Chittagong hill tracts of Bangladesh. So having this success in the country, and also it goes beyond the border, we are implemented this technology in through an ADB project in Cambodia. This has been designed for 2 projects. The site will be implemented soon. This is in 2 provinces. One is in Prevang and another in Kandal province. So this is the design we have developed using this vetiver grass technology, which has been adopted and it's going to be adopted by Cambodian authority. And also, based on this success, now this is being feasibility study for implementing in the Trans-South Java Road project in Indonesia. So these are the places and the locations, as you can see from the map, where this will be piloting before going to the real application. So one of the main aspect of this, technology is very cost effective. As you can see from this graph, that so VGT is the cost of the visit is the lowest among others. There are many methods. We can use vetiver grass with jute geotextile and many other things. But the most important thing is that the cost of this technique is very, very low. So the main focus of today's discussion that the logic project opted for BGT since it provides low cost, low carbon options and allows for achieving the goals of climate change adaptation and mitigation of environmental and sustainability. So finally, based on the site visits, the few sites are shortlisted. So this table shows the shortlisted sites for vetiver-based bioengineering method. For Khulna, there are 2 sites, Pankhali and Lokhikola. In Sunamganj, therefore, there are 3 sites initially selected: Hosenpur, Noyahati, Dokhinkul, and Chilmari Kurigam. There are 2 other sites, Machabandan and Mondolpara. At the beginning, a questionnaire was prepared by BUET team for the logic team to collect important relevant information such as location, infrastructure type, geometry of the embankment, construction and performance history of the infrastructure, common natural disasters in that locality, and other general information about the locations. The main objective was to make an informed comparison to finalize 3 sites among the selected sites. So actually, I'm not going in detail of this, but these are the actually list of the technical information which have been gathered from during the technical data collection, the embankment geometry, then construction authority. For example, for this road, the Bangladesh Water Development Board, and the construction year was 2009, and it was reconstructed due to some other disasters like in 2019 and 2020 and 2021. And these are actually the natural disasters which are being in that locality. And this has very high rainfall, about more than 1700 millimeter. And the soil is sandy, which is very erosion prone. So this is the significant issue, to protect the road embankments and the other embankments from the erosion, rain-cut erosion. Similarly, this is the table for the Sunamganj area. So 3 sites were selected first. One was road slope, another was the embankment cum road slope, another was road slope. So these are the actually technical data. But here, the significant thing is that, so the rainfall is very, very high in this area. And there is flood and flash flood also here. So, and the soil is different, the silty clay, and the disasters also different from the other sites. And also for the Kurigam, there are 4 sites actually initially were selected. These are Badrpur, Lambapara, Machabadan, and Mondolpara. So from this, you can see that, so here also the slope ratio and geometry are different, and the soil is also different here, and the disasters also different. So actually, I'm not going in detail of this technical data, but what I have to mean here that we collected the technical information deeply and many information. Based on that, then we can go in for the implementation. So these are the finally selected sites in Kurigam, Khulna, and Sunamganj, and in Chilmari Upazila, this is the Union Thanahat. So these are the locations. So 3 selected sites. So from the photographs, you can see the differences of the 3 selected locations in the Sunamganj. So this is the embankment which you have selected, but this is in Haur area, which is called swampy land. And in this area, actually, the main disasters are heavy rain, flood, and wave action. Due to the wave action, as you can see from the photo, so every villages and embankments get washed away in the monsoon. And the next is in the Khulna. So you can see the context of the site, and also, and as you know, in the coastal areas also huge wave action. So this is another site, the photo of previous project. So this also, if it is unprotected, it can get damaged due to the wave actions and rainwater flow. So here also the main disasters are heavy rain, flood, wave action, tidal surge, and salinity. In Kurigam, this is a little bit different, and also this is in the river, floodplain, and also this is on the threat of, the damage due to the water flow during flood. So actually, in the map of Bangladesh, these are the 3 sites in 3 different geographical locations. As you can see, the Kurigam is here, and then is the Sunamganj, and also the Khulna. So one is at the north, another is the south, and another is in the northeastern part of the country. So these are the initial, photos of the sites in the Kurigam, and the slope is here, and the soil is silty sand, is a sandy soil actually. And in Sunamganj, this is clay silt, and Khulna it is silty clay. So, soil samples are collected from all the 3 sites to characterize and do the geotechnical tests at the BUET laboratory. So from this, photos, you can see the 3 different soil types and the from these three sites. And these are actually the geotechnical properties of the soils. I'm not going in detail, but the soils are characterized appropriately. But unfortunately, due to the obstacle during the implementation process, we cannot apply this, in Sunamganj, because the flash flood came and the site was inundated for a long time. So then we did the plantation only in two districts, one in Khulna and another in Chilmari. So this is the update on the sites of this, in Lokipur, Dakab Khulna. So this is the initial condition. This was implemented in the May 2022. And then after 10 months, you can see the condition is very good. There is no damage actually, and there is no erosion or rain cut erosion there. And from the photograph, as you can see, the vetiver grass were trimmed during the, after 10 months of the plantation. And the stream shoots were placed on site to make it as fertilizer for the regrowth of the vetiver grass. And after 12 months, you can see that the growth is excellent and the production is very good, and there is no damage in the roadside slope actually. Similarly, for the another site in the Chilmari Kurigam, you can see that this is the initial condition of the site, and vetiver grass was planted again in June in 2022. And you can see that the growth was significant, excellent growth, and the performance is very good. And because of the nutrient content was very good here, and the growth was, better than the other side. You can see from the photograph, so this growth was unexpectedly, extremely good. And this is the situation after only 4.5 months later. And as you can see from the photograph, so if such growth happens on the slope side, so it cannot, it can protect the slope and the side embankment very effectively from rain cut erosion and sometimes from the wave action also. And also another site was implemented by Logic in the Rajipur site, and also this is the initial condition, and this is the, the final condition. And it is interesting to let you know that this site was inundated due to the flood, and after the flood water receded, then again the vetiver grass regrowth very well and the perform very well here also. So although there are many, positive and good results, but even though there are challenges, for implementing this type of technology, this is a short list here. For example, the first question is adaptability and suitability in new contexts need to be checked for everywhere. So it may not be applicable in many contexts such as in saline zone. Finding correct vetiver species and natural sources is another challenge, but it can also be a good opportunity for establishing a supply chain and e-commerce. If the slope itself is not stable, so only applying BZT can be risky. In those cases, we have to apply BZT with other solutions. So BZT's main function is to reduce erosion. We have to keep in that mind. When BZT is applied, regular maintenance is a big challenge, has to be ensured for its success, but the implementing agencies do not have a proper protocol and support system for that. However, the solution to this problem can be to involve LCS in the maintenance, which provides a good job opportunity for the community people and especially for the women. For proper implementation and maintenance, experienced contractors, skilled labor, and supervisors are needed. If vetiver is also planted at the edge of the roads, sometimes it causes visibility problem. And there are some social issues also. Local people can fear the possibility of frequent rat, snake, and mosquito infection in the vetiver bush in the front years. So plantation in the front years should be avoided for their peace of mind. Due to the lack of proper knowledge, community people can sometimes assume that only hard solutions can provide the desired protection. To avoid the proper awareness is also needed. And for some other national issues are proper national guideline needs to be produced applicable to the context of Bangladesh. The technology needs to be included in the rate schedule of the different implementing agencies for appropriate application. And policy advocacy is also needed for proper dissemination of the knowledge and to ensure that it is accepted at the highest policy level. So these are the summary. Out of 9 districts, 3 districts were shortlisted initially, from which 3 sites were finalized based on detailed consideration and information collected from the local people, the Logic team, and site visit by the WAIT team. Due to challenges like flash flood, the plantation in Sunamganj was not carried out. However, instead of 1, 2 sites in Kurigam were included for the VZT implementation along with Khulna. The plantation sites have been monitored for 2 monsoon seasons and until now have shown very promising outcomes. Other than 3 selected sites, implementation in some other locations has been carried out under the Logic project. If proper funding can be managed, further upscaling of the technology can be arranged within the project areas since the result is promising. Awareness must be raised among the community people to ensure success. This technology needs to be accepted at the national level by including in the policy and rate schedules. Last but not least, establishing a Betibar Research Institute will open the horizon for new opportunities. Thank you very much for your kind hearing.
Professor Islam, thank you very much indeed. An excellent presentation and very dense with lots of information there. I thought that was very telling about the variety of risks that you've identified in the communities, and also how those risks are highly localized. I think this really underscores one of the main themes of this conference is that, local communities really need to have an active and participatory role in action on climate change, and primarily because climate change is such a localized issue. It may be a global problem, but the impacts are most severely experienced at the local level, and they can manifest in very different and divergent ways. And I think that was very clear from your presentation today. I think you can stop screen sharing now, actually, because we're going to a little bit out of order from our original plan. So thank you very much for stepping in a bit early there, Professor Islam, because we're going to move over to one of our community representatives next. Now we're going to go to Dr. Al-Haj Mohammed Abdullah Al-Mahmoud, and he's from Khulna. In fact, both of our representatives are from the same region in the southern parts of Bangladesh, the Khulna region. Mr. Mahmoud, are you there and able to switch on your camera? Could someone translate perhaps into Bangla in case the interpreter is not?
মাহমুদ ভাই যদি সম্ভব হয় তাহলে একটু কাইন্ডলি ভিডিওটা অন করুন। ওকে, ভিডিওটা অন করেছেন, জি থ্যাংক ইউ। মাহমুদ ভাই আপনার শুরু করেন।
শুভ সন্ধ্যা। আমি আলহাজ মোহাম্মদ আব্দুল্লাহ মাহমুদ, চেয়ারম্যান 4 নম্বর মহারাজপুর ইউনিয়ন পরিষদ 2021 খ্রিস্টাব্দ হইতে অদ্যাবধি দায়িত্ব পালন করছি। আমি কয়রা উপজেলার ভৌগোলিক পরিচিতি। বাংলাদেশের 64টি জেলার মধ্যে খুলনা বিভাগের অন্তর্গত সর্বদক্ষিণে সুন্দরবন ঘেষিত 263.0 কিলোমিটার এলাকা জুড়ে 7টি ইউনিয়ন নিয়ে কয়রা উপজেলার অবস্থিত। জি আপা, আমি বাংলায় বলছি, ওখানে তো ইন্টারপ্রেটার আছে, ইংলিশ করছে আপা। আপা তামিনা আপা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
জি, Madiha appa, can you please explain if the translation work is going on or not?
Yes, the translation work is going
Okay.
on.
Yes,
Maharaj
we're
bhai,
hearing loud and clear, so that's wonderful. If you could just perhaps switch the video on, we can hear every word you're saying. It's wonderful. Thank you.
মহারাজ ভাই, সরি মাহমুদ ভাই, আপনি একটু কন্টিনিউ করবেন আপনার বক্তব্য।
ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ। আচ্ছা, কালেসাকি বহনকারী কপোতাক্ষ নদীর তীরে গড়ে ওঠা কয়রা উপজেলার একটি ঐতিহ্যবাহী অঞ্চল হলো মহারাজপুর ইউনিয়ন। দুই পাশ নদী দ্বারা বেষ্টিত, পশ্চিমে কপোতাক্ষ নদ এবং পূর্ব দিকে শাকবাড়িয়া নদী। দুই পাশে ভেড়িবাঁধ দ্বারা বেষ্টিত। ভেড়িবাঁধ বললে যতটা বড়সড় অবকাঠামো বোঝায় তেমনটা অবশ্যই নয়। টাইলের মতো রাস্তা, আবার কোথাও মাঝারি মাত্রা জলসা চলে নদীগর্ভে বিলীন হয়ে যাবে। প্রতি বছর আমাদের বিভিন্ন ধরনের প্রাকৃতিক দুর্যোগ এর সাথে লড়াই করে বেঁচে থাকতে হয়। ইউনিয়নের কিছু প্রাথমিক তথ্য: ইউনিয়নের মোট আয়তন 42.38 বর্গ কিলোমিটার, লোক সংখ্যা প্রায় 52,000 সর্বশেষ আদমশুমারি অনুযায়ী। জনসংখ্যার ঘনত্ব প্রতি বর্গ প্রায় 900-এর উপরে। আমি ইউনিয়ন পরিষদের চেয়ারম্যান নির্বাচিত হওয়ার আগে বিভিন্ন সামাজিক উপজেলা জলবায়ু পরিবর্তনের প্রভাবের সব থেকে বেশি ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত, কারণ আমরা জানি যে আমাদের এই উপকূলীয় প্রতি বছর যে দুর্যোগ, প্রাকৃতিক দুর্যোগ এখানে যে লেগেই থাকে। যেমন সর্বশেষ 2021 সালের যে 25শে মে যে ঘূর্ণিঝড় ইয়াসের কারণে আমাদের এই এলাকা আবার প্লাবিত হয়ে যায়। তাতে আমাদের এই কয়রা উপজেলার প্রায় 1টি ইউনিয়ন বাদে 6টি ইউনিয়ন পুরো প্লাবিত ছিল। তো আমাদের হচ্ছে ভেড়িবা, আমাদের ইউনিয়নে যে জলবায়ু সহনশীল ও পরিবেশ বান্ধব বিভিন্ন প্রকল্প গ্রহণ করি চেয়ারম্যান হওয়ার পরে। তার ভিতরে সবচেয়ে অন্যতম হচ্ছে বৃষ্টির পানির যে ধরে রাখা, যে রেইন ওয়াটার হারভেস্টিং, এর কপোতাক্ষ নদের পাড়ে আমরা 6 আছে, আমরা সেটা বৃক্ষরোপণ করি। এখানে আমরা 5 প্রজাতির, তার মধ্যে অন্যতম হচ্ছে গেওয়া, গোলপাতা, কাঁকড়া, কেওড়া, বাইন ও গরান। এখানে আমরা এই লজিক প্রকল্পের আমরা সিএনএস এর সাথে চুক্তিবদ্ধ হয়ে আমরা 9000 চারা রোপণ করি এবং 35 কেজি বীজ বপন। স্কিমটি জলবায়ু বিপন্ন উপকূলীয় মানুষের আর্থসামাজিক উন্নয়নে ভূমিকা রাখছে। স্কিমটির আওতায় উপকূলীয় বাঁধের বাইরে স্থানীয় প্রজাতির ম্যানগ্রোভ উদ্ভিদের বনায়ন করা হয়েছে, যা ঘূর্ণিঝড় ও জলোচ্ছ্বাসের সময় বাঁধটিকে ক্ষতির হাত থেকে রক্ষা করছে। ফলে বাঁধের পিছনে অবস্থিত মানুষের ঘরবাড়ি, মাছ, কাঁকড়ার ঘের, কৃষি জমি, খাবার পানির উৎস ও নানা ধরনের অবকাঠামো ক্ষতির হাত থেকে রক্ষা পাচ্ছে। ফলে মানুষের জীবিকা, খাদ্য, পানীয়, স্বাস্থ্য ইত্যাদির ও নিরাপত্তা বেড়েছে। এছাড়াও ম্যানগ্রোভ বনটি যখন আরো পরিপূর্ণ পর্যায়ে পৌঁছাবে, তখন স্থানীয় মানুষ তা থেকে গোলপাতা এবং প্রয়োজনীয় জ্বালানি ইত্যাদি সংগ্রহ করে উপকৃত হবে। এছাড়া সমাজের সর্বস্তরের মানুষ তথা নারী পুরুষ উভয় উপকৃত হচ্ছেন। স্কিমটির কারণে স্থানীয় নারীরা নানা উপায়ে প্রত্যক্ষ ও পরোক্ষভাবে উপকৃত হবে। নারীরা তাদের বসত ভিটার আশপাশে কৃষিকাজ ও হাঁস মুরগি পালন সহ অন্যান্য যে সকল উপার্জনমূলক কার্যক্রম পরিচালনা করে থাকে তা ক্ষতির হাত থেকে রক্ষা পাচ্ছে। এছাড়াও ঝড় জলোচ্ছ্বাসের কারণে ঘর বাড়ির কৃষি ফসল ও গবাদি পশু ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হলে তার দ্বারা নারীরাও পরোক্ষভাবে প্রভাবিত হয়। স্কিমটির নানাবিধ পরিবেশগত উপকার রয়েছে। গবেষণায় দেখা গিয়েছে ম্যানগ্রোভের কার্বন যে সিকুয়েশন করা রেন ফরেস্টের তুলনায় প্রায় 4 গুণ বেশি। এটা WWF 2016 ক্ষয়রোধের মাধ্যমে ম্যানগ্রোভ উপকূলীয় অঞ্চলে ভূমি স্থিতিশীলকরণের ম্যানগ্রোভ নানা কারণে নানা ধরনের উদ্ভিদ প্রাণীর আবাসস্থল হিসাবে ব্যবহৃত হয় এবং উপকূলীয় জীব বৈচিত্র্য সমৃদ্ধকরণে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা রাখে। এছাড়াও ম্যানগ্রোভ পানি থেকে দূষণকারী পদার্থ দূরীভূত করে। আমার পাশাপাশি কয়রার 9.14 হেক্টর এবং দক্ষিণ বেতকাশি ইউনিয়নে 6.92 হেক্টর জমিতে ম্যানগ্রোভ যে কাঁকড়া, কেওড়া, গোলপাতা, গরান, বাইন, গেওয়া প্লান্টেশন করা হয়েছে। মোট গাছের সংখ্যা 9,000 এবং 35 কেজি করে বীজ। ইউনিয়ন ভিত্তিক এই লজিক প্রকল্পের মাধ্যমে সিএনআরএস যে এনজিও এর মাধ্যমে সেখানে মানে রোপণ করা হয়েছে। তা আমাদের উপজেলায় জলবায়ু সহনশীল ও পরিবেশ বান্ধব বিভিন্ন প্রকল্প গ্রহণ করা প্রয়োজন এবং এ বিষয়ে কাজ করার সুযোগ রয়েছে। আমাদের এই প্রকল্প মানুষের দক্ষিণাঞ্চলে যারা নদীর তীরে বসবাস করে তাদের জন্য অত্যন্ত প্রয়োজন হয়। আমি ব্যক্তিগতভাবে উপজেলা ও জেলা সমন্বয় মিটিং এ প্রস্তাব করেছি যাতে এর প্রকল্প জেলা ও উপজেলার বিভিন্ন ফান্ড থেকে নেওয়া সব বাঁধের পাশে গ্রহণ করা হয় এবং পরবর্তী বাজেটে আমরা এর বিস্তারের জন্য ইউনিয়ন থেকে আরো প্রকল্প গ্রহণ করার সিদ্ধান্ত নিয়েছি। এখানে
Let's just see if the connection improves. Oh, slightly. I'm still not hearing him. Is anyone able to contact him? Oh, I think his connection is lost. I actually have some of his notes from his intervention today, and he was actually getting quite close to the close. Now he was speaking from Kulna, which is was the area in blue on Professor Islam's map. It's in the southern part of Bangladesh, and one of the things that they've been mainly doing, these forest planting that Mr. Mahmoud was talking about, was the planting of mangroves. So just to remind you that, of course, they're a shrub that thrive in brackish water. They can improve water quality and prevent erosion. And there's been a total of 9,000 saplings planted in his Paradisha alone. That's 35 kilos of seeds. And the impacts are having a particularly strong, not just for the erosion, but it's improving the water quality. Women have been able to farm and collect crabs and other produce that they can sell. So this is having some strong positive impacts on the community, from what I understand from the paper he shared with us. I think we should probably move to our second chairman speaker now, and that's I'll just find his name, Mr. Ahmed, and he is also in Khulna, with the southern district, the southern part of Bangladesh, but he's from a different parishad. And Mr. Ahmed will talk more about the Vevita grass that I think we heard plenty of in the presentation there from Professor Islam. Now, this Vevita grass, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, actually, someone maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Vevita? Vevita? But I had to look up what it was. But it grows very high. It's really tough. It can survive floods for several months. It holds soil together. It can be aggressively eaten by grazing animals. It seems to me pretty indestructive. I'm not 100% indestructive. I'm sure that wouldn't be correct, Professor. But it seems very, very tough stuff. And it has an immense quality for holding soil together and preventing erosion. So, and you saw it from the presentation there from Professor Islam, how quickly it grows as well. Within 3 months, ground cover was very, very well secured. So perhaps if we can go to Chairman Ahmed, are you able to join us, Chairman? And switch on. Could someone perhaps ask him, Tamina, would you mind asking him in Bangla so that I'm...
Yes, I can see that Mr. Sabir Ahmed has unmuted the microphone. সাব্বির ভাই, যদি আপনি আপনার বক্তব্য শুরু করেন ভিডিওটা অন করে।
শুভ সন্ধ্যা, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমি সাব্বির আহমেদ, চেয়ারম্যান 1 নম্বর পানখালী ইউনিয়ন পরিষদ, দাকব খুলনা। আমি 10 2021 খ্রিস্টাব্দে অদ্যাবধি দায়িত্ব পালন করছি। আমি প্রথমবারের মতন ইউপি চেয়ারম্যান হিসেবে জনগণের সেবা করে যাচ্ছি। আমি পানখালী ইউনিয়ন, আমার 3 পাশেই বেড়িবাঁধ। আমার ইউনিয়নের সীমানাবর্তী উপজেলা সদর নিরাপত্তা বাদ চরম ঝুঁকিপূর্ণ। বর্তমানে আমি বিভিন্ন চ্যালেঞ্জ মোকাবেলা করে সময় পাড়ি দিচ্ছি। ঝুঁকিপূর্ণ বেড়িবাঁধ রক্ষা করার জন্য সাইক্লোন ও ঘূর্ণিঝড়ের সিগন্যাল পড়লেই নিঝুম রাত কাটাতে হয় বেড়িবাঁধ রক্ষার জন্য। সরকারের বিভিন্ন উন্নয়ন ও সেবা ও জনকল্যাণ হলেও জলবায়ু পরিবর্তন ও লবণাক্ততার জন্য ক্ষতির তুলনায় তা যথেষ্ট নয়। পানি উন্নয়ন বোর্ড যথেষ্ট নয়। ভৌগোলিক অবস্থান ও বৈশ্বিক উষ্ণতার কারণে যেহেতু আমাদের উপজেলা জলবায়ু পরিবর্তন প্রভাবে সব থেকে বেশি ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত, সেই বিষয়টি মাথায় রেখে লজিক প্রকল্প দাক উপজেলায় আমার ইউনিয়নের জলবায়ু সহনশীল বিভিন্ন কাজ করে চলছে। লবণাক্ততার জন্য বিশুদ্ধ খাবার পানির সংকট নিরসনে বিভিন্ন প্লান্ট, বৃষ্টির পানির হারভেস্টার, কৃষি সেচের জন্য খাল খনন, সোলার সিস্টেম প্রকল্পের ব্যবস্থা করছে। আমি আমার পরিষদকে নিয়ে জলবায়ু সহনশীল ও পরিবেশ বান্ধব বিভিন্ন প্রকল্প গ্রহণ করি। তার মধ্যে বেড়িবাঁধ, স্লোপ ও ঢাল যেটাকে খুব বেশি প্রাধান্য দেওয়া হয়েছে, এটা হচ্ছে ভেটিবার ঘাস, বিভিন্ন ঘাস রোপণ ও বৃক্ষরোপণের একটি অন্যতম প্রকল্প। এই প্রকল্পটি একটি পরিবেশ বান্ধব, যা মাটি ধস রোধ করতে পারে এবং পরিবেশের কোনো ক্ষতি করবে না। প্রথম ধাপে 2021 অর্থ বছরে লজিক প্রকল্পের সহায়তায় ইউনিয়নের 6 নম্বর ওয়ার্ড লক্ষ্মীকুলার মধ্যে ভদ্রা নদীর পাশে বেড়িবাঁধের ঢালে পরীক্ষামূলক 100 মিটার ভেটিয়ার ঘাস রোপণ করি। এ কাজে লজিক প্রকল্পের মাধ্যমে প্রথমে বুয়েটের ইঞ্জিনিয়ার বিভাগের প্রফেসর সহ আরো টিম আসেন, সর্বজনীন পরিদর্শন করেন। বাঁধের দুপাশের ঢালের মাটি পরীক্ষা করেন। যে পাশে তুলনামূলক লবণের পরিমাণ কম, সেই পাশেই পরীক্ষামূলক 100 মিটার ভেটিয়ার ঘাস রোপণ করি। লজিক প্রকল্পের জেলা উপজেলা কর্মকর্তা বৃন্দ নিবিড়ভাবে কাজ সার্বক্ষণিক সহায়তা ও পরামর্শ প্রদান করেন। পরীক্ষামূলকভাবে লাগালেও এই ঘাসগুলো সফলভাবে টেকসই হয়ে আছে। আমি উপজেলা মাসিক সমন্বয় সভায় এই পরিবেশ বান্ধব জলবায়ু সহনশীল ভেটিয়ার ঘাস রোপণ প্রকল্পের সফলতার কথা বলি। সেই গল্প শুনে তিলডাঙ্গা, আমার পাশের ইউনিয়ন, চেয়ারম্যান এটি তার এলাকায় বাস্তবায়নের জন্য সিদ্ধান্ত গ্রহণ নেন। দ্বিতীয় ধাপে 2021-22 অর্থ বছরে আবারও আমার ইউনিয়নে একই বাঁধের 200 মিটার ভেটিয়ার ঘাস রোপণ করেছে, সেটাও সফলভাবে বেঁচে আছে। আগের লাগানো স্থানের ঢালের মাটি অক্ষত অবস্থায় আছে, বর্তমানে লাগানো জায়গাটি মাটি ও ধস নাই। বেড়িবাঁধের ভাঙ্গন রক্ষায় বিভিন্ন সময় সরকার সহ আমরা লক্ষ লক্ষ টাকা খরচ করেও টেকাতে পারিনি। আমার এই লজিক প্রকল্প থেকে 40-50 হাজার টাকা ব্যয় করে বাঁধের ভাঙন রক্ষায় এক দৃষ্টান্ত সৃষ্টি হয়েছে। এর জন্য আমার ইউনিয়ন সহ সকল ইউনিয়ন যেখানে সেখানে বেড়িবাঁধ আছে, সেখানে ঘাস রোপণ করে আমরা বাঁধের ভাঙন রোধ করে অনেক মানুষকে স্বল্প ক্ষতির হাত থেকে রক্ষা করতে পারি। এই প্রকল্পের বিষয়ে আমি উপজেলার সমন্বয় মিটিংয়ে বলেছি। পানি উন্নয়ন বোর্ড সহ বিভিন্ন এনজিও সহকারী বিভাগ এ প্রকল্প পরিদর্শন করে। এরকম ঘাস সম্পূর্ণ বাঁধেই লাগানোর সিদ্ধান্ত নিয়েছে। এর ফলে স্বল্প মূল্যে বাঁধের মাটি ধস ও ভাঙন রক্ষা করা সম্ভব। আমাদের উপজেলার জলবায়ু সহনশীল পরিবেশ বান্ধব বিভিন্ন প্রকল্প গ্রহণ করা প্রয়োজন এবং কাজ করার সুযোগ রয়েছে। ধন্যবাদ। Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think that really that illustrated very well how a cost-effective, nature-based solution is delivering some solid results. Of course, there's always more demand, more opportunity for scaling up and increasing the work that's being done. But I think you illustrated very clearly the tremendous potential of harnessing nature-based solutions like grass planting, and our previous speaker with the mangrove forests. I think there may be some questions. I saw there's a hand raised in the audience, but we're running very tight on time, I'm afraid, with all the technical issues we've had today. Can I kindly ask that if you do have questions, you drop them into the chat, and then we can organize them as we go along. And maybe if the two respondents or panelists who are able to, they can reply directly to your question in the chat function. Okay. Just so that we can try and keep a little bit onto our very tight schedule here. Now, we've heard from 3 fabulous speakers from Bangladesh. I want to now speak to some of my colleagues from the UN Capital Development Fund. But as we perhaps make that transition, there is a video that I would like to show you that I think is very relevant for understanding the context of Logic and how it works with communities. So if you just excuse me while I share my screen. This is just a short video. I'll let you watch this. Welcome to the Local Government Initiative on Climate Change, or Logic, in Bangladesh. Logic empowers communities and builds climate resilience using performance-based climate resilience grants, or PBCRGs. The Logic approach uses performance and inclusive participation to drive adaptation investments at the local level. Let's see how it works.
সভায় আমার হলো বিভিন্ন স্তরের লোকজন অংশগ্রহণ করে এবং তাদের অংশগ্রহণের মধ্য দিয়ে কি করা প্রয়োজন সেগুলো উঠে আসে। এই বাজেট মিটিংয়ে এই সমস্যাগুলো নিয়ে বিস্তারিত কথা হয়। আমি সহ সকল ইউনিয়ন পরিষদের মেম্বার, সচিব সহ আমাদের এই মাসিক সভায় সর্বসম্মতিক্রমে প্রকল্পগুলোকে আমরা অনুমোদন করি।
The journey continues as the Upazila Parishads, recognizing the importance of local perspectives, approve investments through a local grants coordination committee.
চাহিদাকৃত প্রকল্পগুলো আমরা বিভিন্ন দপ্তরের সাথে আলোচনা করে থাকি। প্রকল্পগুলো উক্ত এলাকার জন্য উপযুক্ত কিনা, বিশেষ করে প্রকল্পগুলো জলবায়ু ঝুঁকি পরিবর্তন জনিত যে বিভিন্ন সমস্যা আছে এগুলো রোধ করে কিনা তা যাচাই বাছাই পূর্ব প্রকল্পগুলো আমরা অনুমোদন দিয়ে থাকি।
Social and environmental assessments ensure the project uplifts livelihoods without harming the delicate balance of nature.
ড্রয়িং ডিজাইন করার জন্য আমরা মার্কেট অ্যানালাইসিস করি, অ্যানালাইসিস করে ড্রয়িং ডিজাইন কমপ্লিট করা হয়, তারপরে এটা অনুমোদনের জন্য পাঠানো হয়।
The Union Parishads can then select contractors following a rigorous and transparent tender process. From there, the community takes control. A supervision or implementation committee formed according to union laws becomes the guardian of the project, ensuring its sustainability. The journey comes full circle. The Operation and Maintenance Committee oversees the final details, and payments flow seamlessly to deliver local results. Developed by the UN Capital Development Fund's Local Climate Adaptive Living Facility, the flexible PBCRG approach, used by Logic since 2011, forms the basis of a new ISO standard for locally led adaptation, now used and available globally. Thanks to this approach, the Local Government Initiative on Climate Change has already delivered over 700 adaptation investments, improving the lives of nearly 1 million people in Bangladesh. And with the collective efforts of the Bangladesh government, Sweden, Denmark, UNDP Bangladesh and UNCDF, communities across the country stand shoulder to shoulder to build resilience where it matters most, at the local level. Okay, I hope that was a useful video. I think for me, it was really useful because it shows you the communities themselves and how the work takes place on the ground, and gives you an idea of the people involved and how everyone's engaged at the different levels. I can see that our chairman is back, Chairman Mahmood. Hello, and your hand is raised. Would someone like to explain to me in Bangla that if he would like to close, because I know we lost him, if he would like to close off his presentation just for 1 minute? I'm so glad you
Yes,
made it.
যে লজিক প্রকল্পের মাধ্যমে আমরা ইউনিয়ন পরিষদে যে বরাদ্দটা পেতাম, সেটা দিয়ে আমরা আমাদের ইউনিয়নের, বিশেষ করে আমাদের এই এলাকায় বিশুদ্ধ খাবার পানির খুবই অভাব। কারণ অধিকাংশ পানি হচ্ছে লবণাক্ততা, স্যালিনিটি আমাদের এই এরিয়াতে। আমরা পানির প্রকল্পটাই বেশি নিয়েছিলাম, কিন্তু এই প্রকল্পটা আমাদের ইউনিয়ন পরিষদ থেকে উপজেলা পরিষদে ন্যস্ত করা হয়েছে। তা উপজেলা পরিষদে অনেক সময় নানা ধরনের আমাদের জটিলতা থাকে। এখন যদি এই প্রকল্পর আওতায় আমাদের ইউনিয়ন পরিষদ বেস যদি আরো আমরা পানির নিয়ে কাজ করতে পারি, তাহলে আমাদের এই এলাকার উপকূলীয় এলাকার মানুষ উপকৃত হবে। যেহেতু আমাদের এই এলাকার ভেড়িবাঁধের মূলত প্রধান সমস্যা হচ্ছে ভেড়িবাঁধ আর খাবার পানির সমস্যা। কারণ আমাদের এই এলাকার মানুষ ত্রাণ চায় না, স্লোগান একটাই যে আমরা টেকসই ভেড়িবাঁধ চাই এবং বিশুদ্ধ খাবার পানি চাই। এখন এই খাবার পানির জন্য যদি আমরা রেইন ওয়াটার হারভেস্টিং, তার পাশাপাশি যদি আমরা পানির ট্যাঙ্ক সরবরাহ করতে পারি, এটা উপকৃত হবে। এটাই আমার দাবি থাকবে আর কি। আর যাতে করে বেশি বেশি করে আমাদের এই উপকূলীয় কোস্টাল বেল্টের, শুধু আমার খুলনা জেলার কয়রা উপজেলা না, আমাদের যে বাংলাদেশের প্রায় 17টি জেলা আছে যেটা উপকূলীয় অঞ্চলে, এখানে মানুষ আসলে যে মৌসুম গুলোতে আমাদের প্রাকৃতিক বিপর্যয় হয়, যে এপ্রিল মে মাস এবং যে অন্যান্য সময় যে নদীর নাব্যতা গুলো দিন দিন আর কি ভরাট হয়ে যাচ্ছে, যে অতিরিক্ত জোয়ার হলে মানে ভেড়িবাঁধ ওভারফ্লো করে আপনার লোকালয়ে পানি ঢুকে যায়। এই জন্য আমাদের অবদা এবং খাবার পানির জন্য এবং যে সমস্ত মহিলা আছে গরিব, তাদেরকে যদি আরো বেশি বেশি বরাদ্দ দিয়ে পুনর্বাসন করা যায়, এজন্য উপকৃত হব। থ্যাংক ইউ আমাকে পুনরায় সুযোগ দেওয়ার জন্য।
Thank you very much, Chairman. Yes, certainly there's always more need. And I know that some of them, as well as the vetiver grass and the mangrove planting, I know that desalination and water capture projects are also parts of the logic remit. But perhaps the person to tell you more about that is my colleague, Tamina Tamana. And she's a resilient infrastructure analyst with 13 years of experience in climate change and disaster management. Tamina, please, over to you.
Thank you, Sarah, for giving me the floor. Good evening, everyone. As we will be talking about the nature-based solutions and what the logic has done so far, let me tell you that if we look at the past years, we can see that global leaders, policymakers, scientists are working to find out the different ways to combat with climate change. And in last past few years, nature-based solution has emerged as a significant measure to tackle these challenges. It is because the nature-based solutions are more cost-effective and also give benefits to the social, environmental, and economical ways. And this is evident since it is being adopted by European Union through Green Deal Agreement. Then United Nations Environmental Assembly has adopted 14 resolutions incorporating nature-based solutions to address the climate change issues. Then it was also adopted in COP27 and featured in the Sharm el-Sheikh implementation plan. In Bangladesh, the government is also focusing on giving priority towards nature-based solutions. Government has incorporated these solutions in different policies and plans, like a national adaptation plan of Bangladesh for up to 2050, and Water Act, be it Water Act, then Bangladesh Delta Plan, and other documents. As Logic is working for climate adaptation, and since its inception from 2017, Logic has implemented different schemes, community level adaptation schemes through performance-based climate resilient grants, as you have seen in the video documents, and implemented various types of schemes to address the water scarcity, water scarcity for agriculture, drinking water, and other issues like developing climate resilient infrastructures. If I read out, already the speakers have mentioned about 2 pilot projects. One with the vetiver grass plantation in 2 areas, which got immense success, and then it was replicated in other parts of the country. And another spoke about the mangrove plantation to mitigate or to reduce the impact of flood. Apart from these 2 initiatives have been highlighted as nature-based solutions and got the acknowledgement from various parts. Apart from this, there are a number of initiatives by Logic project, which are actually amalgamated nature-based solutions and cutting-edge technologies. If I read out some, then I can tell you about the excavation of or re-excavation of 40 canals and ponds, which were used for irrigation purposes and supporting the local biodiversity. Then implementation of 126 solar-powered irrigation schemes, ensuring sustainable water use. Then there are 169 drinking water system across 7 districts so far, which actually helped more than 0.2 million people who were suffering from drinking water crisis. And some of these drinking water solutions used solar power. And ultimately, through this community-led adaptation, Logic was able to produce or promote the use of 932 kilowatt of green energy through this solar power-based system. And apart from that, there are strategic plantation along the roadside and river banks, which actually protected more than 10,000 people in 7 districts. Plantation activities also were carried out for flood protection walls in front of the RCC or flood protection walls. The plantation were made so that the impact of flood is reduced to the community, and the community is safe from the wrath of flood and flash flood in those climate vulnerable areas. A couple of schemes were also taken for vermicompost, including vermicompost for effective solid waste management. Then fish culture, demonstration of agriculture for sustainable natural resource management were also taken. These schemes have been found very successful and very effective in the community level, and there is ample scope for replicating them in other parts of the climate vulnerable locations in Bangladesh. But given the timeline of the project and given the there is need for more time and more fund, these projects can be actually replicated in other climate vulnerable locations across the globe. And for that reason, we need more research, because these actions, though they have been established as a successful model, but they should be local, modified based on the local context. And those require more research and more fund towards them. That is my 2 cents from my part. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamina. I think that gives a good overview of some of the work that's being done more broadly with Logic. Can I also maybe, Tamina, alert you to the Q&A? There's a question or 2 in there that I think you would be best placed to answer. Anyone else on the call, if you do have questions for any of our speakers, do use the Q&A function. We are running on a tight schedule today, I'm afraid. So we will try and get to some live questions at the end, but failing that, if any questions are dropped into the Q&A, we'll make sure that they're answered, even if it's after the event is over.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thanks everyone. Now I'll go to our last speaker of today. And Lena Bratley is my colleague with UN Capital Development Fund. She's based in Uganda. And she's recently completed a new report looking at how the local climate adaptive living facility, that's the mechanism that channels finance to communities and channels finance and is the same approach used by the Logic program in Bangladesh. How Local is working to use nature-based solutions to deliver adaptation actions in a host of countries across our global operations. While Lena's talking, I will drop in her new report into the chat function so that you can get the first look on this. It has not been previously shared, so this is a new release today, and it will be going online on the UNCDF website later this week. Lena, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me share. Yes. So you can see my screen? Good. Okay. So just to start off by explaining Local and how that works. So Local was designed by UNCDF and was born from the starting point that local governments and their communities can be a powerful ally, as we've seen now or heard now, in promoting climate change, adaptation, and building resilience. Because they are in a unique position to respond to local needs and typically have the mandate to undertake small to medium-sized intervention, but they also face a capacity and funding gap. So Local was designed to help local governments in least developed countries and other vulnerable developing countries to access climate finance in capacity building and technical support they need to respond and adapt to climate change in an effective way through locally led adaptation. So this is a figure that shows how Local mechanism or facility works. So it combines the performance-based climate resilience grants, PBCRGs, which ensure programming and verification of climate expenditures at the local level, while offering strong incentives for performance improvements in enhanced resilience with technical and capacity building support. So PBCRGs, they provide earmarked cross-sectoral grants to cover the additional cost of making local investments climate resilient or undertake climate-specific investments, as you see in the green box. These are channeled through existing government fiscal transfer systems, in addition to regular capital grant transfers that local government might get, ensuring full traceability and additionality. So the percentage of grants compared to other transfers, they varies from country to country. Yeah. So, and the grants, they had to be met by minimum conditions that needs to be checked every year and work towards a set of pre-agreed target indicators called performance measures. And every year, local government's performance is appraised against the performance measures to assess how well additional resources have been used for investments and local government progress towards addressing climate change adaptation and related cross-cutting issues. And these performance results in from the next year's PBCRGs, allocations, as you see in the blue box, and capacity building support at central local level. And the use of grant is guided by a menu of eligible investments aligned with the sectors under the mandates of local governments, NDCs, and NAPs. Yeah, so that is Local and how it works. And here you can see a map of Local, and we're currently in 38 countries in various stages. And we are in 20 countries, we have operational PBCRG grants. And then let's go through and let me represent the report that Local has been addressing nature through locally led adaptation, and I will show you our experiences from 2020 up till May 2023. Yeah, and as Professor Mohammed Islam mentioned, that nature-based solutions and sustainable natural resource management, they play a vital role in protecting and bolstering ecosystem services. And these solutions, they can simultaneously help meet great interlinked challenges of our time, like responding to climate change risks and impacts, and protecting biodiversity and ecosystem, and ensuring human well-being and resilience. And they also do have some mitigation co-benefits. And the report here and the technical paper, they will summarize actions and initiatives from this period, and group's results are around 4 work streams that we have in Local, and that is awareness and capacities, mainstreaming and investments, and financing mechanism and outreach and learning. So let me show you our findings under awareness and capacities. So sensitization and capacity building at the local level is an essential tool for raising awareness and capacities of local actors to respond and adapt to impacts of climate change in an appropriate and sustainable manner. So, for instance, in Ghana, Local carried out training sessions for over 400 local farmers on the production of organic pesticides and production of organic manure. And something similar was also done in Mali. And Local also supports science-based decision-making using CRVA, climate risk and vulnerability assessment, to implement climate change adaptation effectively and sustainably. Because these assessments and systems, they provide an entry point to integrate nature-based solutions and sustainable natural resource management. And also cost-benefit analysis that we also undertook in 2022 in Niger to assess the economic viability of 11 climate adaptation investments, including numerous of nature-based focused investments. And all of the adaptation investments on nature-based solutions, they were considered as effective and economically viable. Yeah. So, and what we did was during this period, we assessed over 1,000 local investments that was made in 11 countries. And it revealed a range of adaptation strategies that are being leveraged to address climate change impacts through the conservation and rehabilitation of ecosystems. And as you can see in the figure, 35% of the investments, they included sustainable natural resource management, and 8% of these was nature-based solutions. And in line with the Local approach of using community consultations to define adaptation interventions, the decision to leverage nature-based solutions and sustainable natural resource management solution is driven by participating communities. And this bottom-up approach, it really underpins the symbiosis of nature-based solutions and sustainable natural resource management with locally led adaptation approaches. Yeah. And so when it comes to financing mechanisms, so each country-based mechanism includes a set of minimum conditions, as I explained, earlier, which local governments have to meet each year to access the grants, and performance measures which incentivize enhance performance for increased resilience. And they also work with the menu of eligible investments. And all of these provide good entry points to address nature-based solutions and sustainable natural resource management. And during this period, Local also has a series of partnerships to leverage the power of PBCRGs for greater adoption of nature-based solutions. An example includes at global level with Denmark and SIDA, as you could see in the video, and at the regional level with Isimud, and country level with the government, let's say Bangladesh or Uganda, and so on. And as part of Local's outreach and learning agenda, Local makes regular submission to UNFCCC, and in 2022 we shared our views on how we could deliver more nature-based solutions investments through this mechanism. And we also, Local and its member countries engaged at COP26, COP27, hosting the locally led adaptation pavilion, giving voice to over 50 events each year, and many of them which was focused on nature-based solutions and sustainable natural resource management. So, so what can we learn from this exercise or this analysis? So investing in robust evidence to inform decision-making process, we saw that this is important, like using the CRVA with integration of nature-based solutions and sustainable natural resource management, and incorporating indigenous knowledge into adaptation strategies to enhance the effectiveness and sustainability of adaptation efforts while respecting cultural diversity and traditional ways of life. And also leveraging the natural ecosystems range of adaptation strategies, like through the menu of eligible investments, and combined with awareness raising and capacity building. And also promoting practices that balance resource use with conservation. So, and the way forward to advance this agenda of sustainable natural resource management and nature-based solutions for climate change adaptation, we will continue to support countries and integrate this agenda in existing programs and in new local countries where the design is ongoing and the pilot is to start, and enhance the use of climate risk and vulnerability assessment and cost-benefit analysis, and integrate nature-based solutions in local investments menus that are aligned to NDCs and NAPs, and also integrate these in our monitoring and evaluation system and in the use of ACAF. And we will also keep on foster collaboration and partnerships to accelerate efforts in this agenda. And I think combining these efforts, Local aims to further advance the agenda of nature-based solutions and sustainable natural resource management for climate adaptation, fostering resilient ecosystems and communities that can withstand the impacts of climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lena. And I think that presentation and the report itself sort of brings us to a nice loop, really, and drives home the message that locally led adaptation provides opportunities for sharing solutions, but it also has to be done in a coordinated way. So it has to be a two-way engagement. The potential can often, for solutions, can often lie with the communities themselves, but how do we scale that up for more coordinated, large-scale action? Where we do that by working together and by increasing the amount of data that's available and the technical expertise to make sure that the solutions are brought to people in an effective and cost-effective way. I saw that there was a number of questions in the chat. I think they have mostly been answered. I did want to alert you just once again that Lena's full report is also available for you to download from the chat, along with a briefing note that's related to that report. Both of these are essentially sneak previews, and these are the first publications that we've shared to date. The document will be officially launched on the UNCDF website this week. We'd welcome your comments and please do read it. If there are more questions, though, I think we do have just 10 minutes left remaining on our session. Would anyone like to take this opportunity?
Sarah, regarding the questions, I would like to draw attention of Dr. Shariful Islam regarding one question on vetiver, how we can make them the vetiver related projects more successful. So let me read out that question to Sir, Dr. Shariful Islam.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. So the question was that vetiver grass has been used in erosion control for several decades now, but it has failed to take off at a large scale. How will locally led approaches break this logjam and allow the use of such NBS as vetiver achieve its long expected potential? Dr. Islam, we would like to hear more on this topic from you.
Okay, should I respond?
Sure, sir.
Yeah, I think it's a very important, valid question somehow. So the potential of vetiver grass, actually, I didn't, mention here, but Sarah has mentioned some. Not only for slope protection, also we can use the vetiver grass for, water, surface water cleaning, water purification, and also air pollution control, many other purposes, and also for many other commercial uses also. So if I want to tell very shortly, actually to get the total potential or the huge potential of this miracle grass, we have to combine these benefits, not only for the slope protection. So, okay, come to the point of the technical issue what he has raised in this question. So actually, it is true that in many locations and many places, it has been successful in piloting, but it was not used in large scale in many places. So actually, there are some reasons, I think. First one is the motivation of the engineering community, the organizations. Because as you know, there are two things. One is this is very cost effective, but in contrast, it needs some long-term periodical maintenance. So what actually I have mentioned in this challenges list today also. So for example, in Bangladesh, LGD has already adopted this in their rate schedule. And as far as I know, they are implementing this technology for road embankment in kilometers and kilometers all over the country. Rosen Heights department is doing this, and many, like in many other university campus, they are doing for hill slope protection in many cases. But the thing is that for the engineering department, like LGD, Rosen Heights department, and also the water board development, so they don't have the protocol, not yet developed, for maintaining these things. So they have to depend on the contractor. So controlling this, outcome using contractor is very difficult, as you know, because this is not a huge budget project. So in a big budget project, so this this component has very low budget. So then sometimes the contractor does not, care about it. But this is a big opportunity, like, UNCDF and these international agencies, which I have mentioned in my presentation. So we can use the LCS. There is a concept, as you all know, the Labor Contracting Society, engaging the local women, and we got it successful in many places here. And also this is being implemented in Cambodia, in Indonesia, and many other countries. Even now in USA, they are implementing this for riverbank and roadside slope protection. So technically is very, very sound. There is no doubt. So, but in those cases, if we can, there are the successful models, but we have to somehow combine these things with the government agencies using the community people. So this is one thing. Another thing is the supply chain of vetiver grass, because every day I receive many emails, many messages, and many communications from, Bangladesh and many other places in the world. So they need huge supply of this grass. So when there is a project, so like Logic or others, so they do their cultivation, they do develop their nursery. But actually what I demanded, also I talked with the government organizations, there should be some fixed supply chain like cement and steel materials and concrete, so that whenever that is needed, it can be supplied readily. And I think e-commerce platform, which I have proposed to ADB and many other agencies, that can be established. And I think that will help a lot. So, but in short, if I can say that, I was presenting these findings in the last May in Chiang Mai, Thailand. There is a, global conference on vetiver grass. And we showed the potential and we see the failures and successes. But I could see that, and it is proven that there is a huge success and huge possibility. And definitely for big projects, if we can combine these things, I think it will be more successful. And I'm very glad to let you know that there is a big lack in this technology, that there is no international standard like concrete and others. But we are writing an international standard. I am the chairman or team leader of that committee, and the International Vetiver Network will publish this international standard within this year. So then that document will be very helpful, because for the government organizations, so if they want to implement it, they need some code and guidelines and manuals. So actually there are a lot of developments. So I think thanks again for raising this very valid question and important thing. And also some other things is the experienced contractor. So we have the contractor for buildings, we have the contractor for the road networks, we have the contractor for like this infrastructure, but actually we need trained contractors for this also, and also need skilled labor and also supervisor. So I'm very grateful to the UP chairman of Pankhali. I think I may be, as he is also promoting this technology to the other Union Parishad and other members, I think in this way, this also is a very robust system to implement this. So thank you very much again. Actually, there are a lot of things, because I dedicated my life for the last more than 20 years to understand, to develop, and to talk with the people. So there are so many things. If you ask me, I can pass hours and hours to talk on this. So in short, I think these are the things. And actually, I take this opportunity to mention you that last year I received the Global Championship Award in Environment category for this technology. So I am very grateful to all of you and also the local people to give me the opportunity to partner with me to implement this technology. So I want more and more success and want your help for this. And finally, actually, my dream to establish one vetiver institute, global vetiver institute, like Concrete Institute is in America. So actually, these are the things.
Thank you so much, sir.
That's terrific. Thank you. So I think that answers very thoroughly the question, which was a very good one. Why is vetiver not reached its potential before, and what can we do to unlock that, well-documented potential? And that comes down to making sure that there's maintenance, and care once it's planted, that there's a good supply chain of good quality grasses to be planted, that there's training and awareness in the communities about the potential of this grass, if it's not known already, that there's maybe some international standards and better guidelines, and most of all, some experienced contractors who can carry out the labour correctly using these more quality grasses. And maybe also your institute, I'm sure once you get that set up, that would also go some way to unlocking this potential. Thank you very much. I think that's pretty much clear. We do have a couple of more questions about vetiver grass in the chat that I think, Professor Islam, you'd be very well placed to answer if you can access that. If not, don't worry, Pulak, I'll make sure that we send you those responses directly by email. I do
Sir,
just
There are
see-
some other questions. Should I respond, or I can go for quick answer, few seconds.
We are almost out of time, but if you want to give just, I think because we started at a few minutes late, could we just give Professor Islam just a couple of minutes to answer?
of course, of course.
Thank you.
So, okay, there is a question about the vetiver grass technology. Is a great innovative initiative. Wanted to know whether the vetiver grass is a local or exotic species. I think it's a local, and it's local to this South India and Bangladesh also. But actually, this is definitely how to say, it is not harmful to the surrounding environment, so it can be used safely. It is proven. So the next question is.
Just why only focus on grass? Are there other plants that could also
Okay.
have beneficial? I suppose we heard a little bit about mangrove earlier, didn't we? But maybe
Yes.
are there other shrubs or other plants that we could use to carry out similar positive impacts?
Definitely. And also, why only, yes, the challenge with big plants. Definitely, should I respond to this? This is not directly to the vetiver grass, but the general. As you
Yes.
know, actually, so we have to choose the grasses and the plants accordingly, according to the locality. So if the slope stability is the question, so then we have to go for the grasses with long root. So vetiver grass is suitable. But if the question is only the surface erosion, then we can go for Bermuda grass and mangroves and many other things. But for selecting plants, it should be very careful. I mean, the Upajala chairmen in Khulna and Maharajpur, they're more experienced. We could see the disaster that after the cyclone cedar, due to the wrong type of plants and trees at the roadside, it was disaster that the rescue team and the relief could not reach there due to the falling of the trees. So definitely it should be chosen properly also. There should be something, appropriate.
That's it, locally appropriate. I do just see that we have a hand raised. Mr. Hussain, are we able to allow him?
মুজাম্মেল ভাই, আপনি যদি থেকে থাকেন তাহলে আপনি আপনার বক্তব্যটা কাইন্ডলি একটু বলবেন, and I think we may need interpretation support for this. মুজাম্মেল ভাই, are you there?
Would
আছেন
that be
আপনি?
possible? It would be a shame for him not to be able to ask his question. And then I think.
Hello.
Hello, we hear you. Hussain,
শুনতে পাচ্ছি মোজাম্মেল ভাই। জি।
you have a question?
না আপা, আমার মানে কাইন্ডলি টিপা পড়ে গেছিল, আমার আসলে কোনো বক্তব্য নেই আপা। হ্যালো।
Okay, মোজাম্মেল ভাই, thank you.
That's no problem. I'm sure you wanted to just give an applause to our wonderful speakers today. Well, that's terrific. I think we can close almost on time our session. I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us today, for both our chairman from calling in, and I know it's quite difficult with the technical issues, but thank you for overcoming them. Thank you very much, Mr. Mahmood and Mr. Ahmed. It's been a pleasure to hear from you and to hear of the work that's being carried out in your parishads. Good luck with it and keep us updated as you progress. Professor Islam, thank you very much for your technical expertise today. Very welcome and very useful for putting everything in context. And to my colleagues also, Lena and Tamina, your invaluable inputs today. I hope you'll stand by if there are any questions following today's event. We will try and of course answer any questions that we receive by email later. And do remember that Lena's new report on local and nature-based solutions in our global operations is available and in the chat for you to download. If you do have comments and questions on that, you're also welcome to get in touch. My name's Sarah Harris. I'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. And until our next event, enjoy the rest of the Gobeshona Conference, and thank you very much for joining us.